If you are Brazilian, you've definitely heard the story of the Varginha ET, haven't you?
Wait,
now,
I
if you
haven't
don't
done it.
know, stories of sightings and contacts with extraterrestrials are quite common everywhere in the world. Some are even nice, scary, to be honest. And today, I am going to tell you one of them.
I
That's
am
it.
Ivan
And it's a
Lima.
pleasure to be
Cheers.
here with you, shall we? Well, our story today takes place a few hours after midnight on September 19th, 1900. The place, the city of Tehran, the capital of Iran. In the Middle East region, it was a quiet and silent night, just another regular night of the desert region where the country is located. However, a strange spaceship appears in the skies. This object flashed lights of various colors and also flew varying its speed
In a manner
from the country. Escape with that
well lit certain parts of the city like
as if looking for something or someone. The city's airport began receiving phone calls from people saying they were frightened by what were they seeing? The authorities at first tried to locate the ship on the airport radars. However, apparently, it could not be identified on the equipment. General Pia was on duty that night. He decided to try to locate the object with your own eyes to see if that was really happening. Well, he really saw something and was scared by what he saw. According to your account, lights were moving in the city as if they were stars. They also moved in an organized manner, as if controlled by someone from the inside. Another, or perhaps some other force, extends. Soon, the general realized that this needed to be investigated more closely. Two Iranian pilots were contacted to intercept this strange and unknown object that was flying over the capital's airspace. Both of them, pilot and another responsible for the weapons, were in a powerful jet, the F-4 Phantom II, and began to chase the object. When they approached it, they realized that the aircraft was moving away at a very fast speed, quickly heading towards outer space. The pilot realized it wasn't safe to try to keep intercepting the other ship and began to distance itself. Just after making a turn and backing up, the ship reappeared and returned to the city's airspace. As things were getting quite bizarre, another pilot was called upon. Now, two F-4 jets were chasing the object. The first pilot already had, for realizing the aircraft had some kind of electromagnetic reflector, which prevented it from being fully tracked by radar. A piece of information that was confirmed by the chase of the second pilot. This one was able to get closer to the ship. According to their report, the ship was flashing in several different colors: orange, red, blue, yellow, green, and red. According to reports from these soldiers, the ship seemed to allow them to get closer. This is because apparently, if one really wanted, it could speed up
Quickly!
and disappear from the sight of
What are you
both.
doing?
Suddenly, the object simply breaks and stop it. In the middle of the air, appears
It's not
and
like
levitates.
that there.
That's pretty strange. Since for technologies already created here by humans, it still takes at least a while
Propeller spinning.
to fight against the force of gravity ultimately. Just think of a helicopter and you'll get the concept. The second pilot, chasing the craft, realized that the craft stopped, had to quickly swerve to avoid colliding with the object. After the shock, the pilot began to slow down and head back toward the spacecraft. It was at that moment that something even stranger happened. The spacecraft apparently, an object dances in the air. According to the pilot's description, this object looked a lot like a torpedo, only made of light. And to make matters worse, this possible bomb would be heading in your direction. The pilot quickly set up his defense, which in this case was to launch one of his own missiles against the luminous object. At the moment he locks his missile's aim on the object,
Regretful.
your communication system with the weapons fails and they stop working. To survive, the pilot had to perform a risky evasive maneuver, just barely making it. Crazy does not escape being hit. When he manages to stabilize in the air again, he tries to aim at the object once more, but
Notice that the crooked does
Pedro
not
blinks
start.
and returns to the ship.
Just like the
but
torpedo.
either re-enters the ship
Goodbye.
or launches another object.
Very similar to the first
Even
one.
though it's smaller, that's why.
Subject goes down.
Straight to the ground.
Awesome.
It was from the pilot's view. Right after that happens, the strange craft just takes off towards space and disappears all at once.
It's tasteless.
crazy, right? It's worth noting that we are reporting what was described
Pupil of
as
Sol.
piloting the ship.
Ach.
The only eyewitness to these objects launched by the ship and the person who experienced had the closest contact with it.
Despite-
Moreover, it was seen by many people. The Tehran Citizens Law, which I've already mentioned. By law, the UFO caught attention for its ability to interfere with the communication system of operation and functioning of jets and radars. Besides the moment when it apparently turned off the pilot's weapon system, at the same moment he tried to counterattack the torpedo, the ship also disabled the jet's communication system. This capability,
the object,
how
too.
well it was felt by another commercial aircraft flying close to the area of the event. Even so, he didn't manage to get a visual on the object. Remember the last bright object the pilot saw leaving the ship before it took off and vanished? When authorities went searching for him in the area where he would have fallen, the radios they used to communicate, they also started to fail. The episode was never officially explained, and to this day, no one really knows what happened that dawn. Many experts say that it all really just came down to a sequence of mistakes and misunderstandings committed by the two pilots who were launched on the mission, who were still young and inexperienced. Others closer to ufology say the episode is clearly a job, an extraterrestrial encounter and more, but that object wasn't too concerned about going unnoticed, you see? Well, obviously it's not me who will tell you what happened, right? But what about you? What do you think? Let us
Leave
know.
it to us in the comments, all right? Now, moving on.
Many years passed with no other kind of contact.
There are Iranian lands, however.
Believe it or not, in 2004, another incident occurred. However, things in that country had changed a lot by then. It's not like they were prepared for this situation because of the episode. It's more because the country itself had become much more powerful, at least in terms of armament. First, Iran, though it officially denies, was likely already building nuclear weapons. This has never been confirmed. It's a fact there are several enrichment plants in the country, places that the authorities claim it was supposed to be for civilian use only. Well, whether it's true or not, the fact is, these places, the nuclear power plants, are strongly protected by the Iranian armed forces. And guess where the appearance of an egg took place, right? Right above one of those power plants. The unidentified object appeared quickly in the Iranian sky, crossing the city at immense speed. And then it simply stops. Stopped and started floating. In one of those places, authorities believed they were being attacked and sent a swift response. A convoy of more than 10 aircraft, including supersonic ones. The pilots of this convoy for support spent a few minutes chasing the object, which also disappeared after a while. In their account, a ship very similar to the one seen so many years ago was seen by the pilots. To make matters worse, this one apparently emitted a kind of greenish electrical field, according to the pilots who followed closely. Within this field, the plane's parts started to malfunction, and navigating there was like being in the middle of a storm. Believe it or not, in 2012, another similar episode happened in Iran. Something must be happening there, right? You don't believe it? Well, anyhow, the object suddenly showed up on airport radars and from the military forces. Quickly, 3 pilots were asked to chase the object. They were flying powerful aircraft, the F-14s, and quickly reached the UFO. When they were close, however, one of the jets it exploded. Such a force that it exploded. Experts investigating the debris that fell on the sand couldn't explain what happened to the aircraft. Another strange occurrence, right? After the jet exploded, the 2 remaining crew members thought the ship was attacking them. The 2 then sped toward her, beginning offensive maneuvers. However, Wolf simply sped up. It stopped and left. Equipment recorded that the object easily hit the speed marker known as Mach 10. That is, more than 12,000 kilometers per hour. No man-made object is yet capable of reaching this speed. The episode, like the other 2, also remains unexplained. Be there. I hope I didn't scare you, did I? Hello, I am Ivan Lima, and you are very welcome to the Unknown Facts channel. Today I want to make a proposal to you. Let's go. Can you imagine aliens making contact with us? Is there a protocol to guide our connection? What language do we speak? How do we behave? We know that we, Earthlings, have already sent several signals into space, with the goal of leaving a message from us, a first contact. We also know there might be millions of other planets with features similar to ours. 2 Mission Kepler, coordinated by NASA, which took place from 2009 to 2018, gathered impressive information. The first piece of data is that, on average, each star hosts at least 1 planet. Another estimate says there could be up to 300,000 millions of exoplanets
With
characteristics similar to Earth, just in the Milky Way, which are defined as rocky planets around stars like the Sun,
Across the Sun,
with orbits capable of forming habitable zones. And your planet,
it's any spread.
located outside our solar system. Scientists have already managed to confirm the existence of approximately
4,003
inside these celestial bodies. Yes, did you know there are also thousands of exoplanets waiting for confirmation?
already in 1905.
Got hot during a debate about the police.
Possibilities of alien life.
Indigenous. The scientist Enrico Fermi raised the following question. Considering that only in our galaxy there are billions of other stars like our sun, and that there are billions of other galaxies in the universe similar to ours, but why still we haven't found signs of alien civilizations? This question became known as the Fermi paradox. Years later, many researchers sought to answer this paradox. In 1961, A calculation by physicist Frank Drake changed our perspective on the possibility of extraterrestrial life existing. Drake developed an equation to estimate the possibilities of aliens existing in our universe, unlike other formulas.
Global themes that
Thank you,
define the
Dave.
relationship
Between energy, mass, and the speed of light, the Drake equation does not provide concrete solutions, nor is that its purpose.
The equation is an exercise.
A mental exercise that suggests thinking about the probability of life forms existing in the universe. The main feature of the formula is that it assigns equal importance to all variables. For you to get a bit of an equation, some of these variables include the star birth rate, similar to the sun and more complicated, which is the average time in which civilizations can be detectable. This variable isn't about the survival time or extinction time of a civilization. It's about time itself. Yes, about the duration of the signals that civilizations might leave in space. Therefore, this value also depends on our ability to detect this information. Currently, scientists call these signals technosignatures, meaning any evidence of extraterrestrial activity. These signatures can appear as electromagnetic signals, radios, radio waves, laser beams, among others. For instance, if another civilization were watching us, could detect signals from military radars that were emitted many years ago, today, researchers in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence network, they aim to develop computers and mechanisms capable of scanning these signals in space. Even with so many advances in the field of space exploration, they continue. We continue without a definitive answer to the question posed by Fermi. He was pessimistic when thinking about the possibility of contact with life. Smart and strategic. For the scientists, if we ever receive any signal from alien beings, it will be necessary to be very careful, because an encounter like this could have not so positive consequences. As a way to argue in favor of their fears, Hawking reminded us of what happened when Europeans discovered America and the civilizations that lived on the continent. We know that indigenous peoples were massacred across various ethnic groups.
Yes.
Decimated. You could say your pessimism is justifiable, isn't it? Yeah, difficult to point out thoroughly with this example. The scientists want to show us how complex and risky the encounter can be. Meeting between entirely different civilizations, literally from another planet. We don't know what alien societies would be like, or even if they exist, but we know all too well the destructive and aggressive potential of the human being. Do you agree with me? One of the main concerns when thinking about possible contact with aliens is precisely how our communication would be. Considering this, a group of scientists, part of the research network for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence in the United Kingdom. They wanted to delve deeper into this issue. They decided to conduct a global consultation where anyone can give their opinion on the matter. The truth is, it doesn't exist. A protocol of procedures that we should follow in a situation like this. I mean, no global influence international institution like the United Nations, for example, has set a set of rules and precautions for a possible extraterrestrial contact. Despite this, these scientists started thinking about the possibility of contact. For them, the answer to how we should respond in the event of extraterrestrial contact begins here. by crafting the question itself. First, what is our consensus on what we understand as intelligence and communication? Even addressing that issue, we're still left with other doubts. For instance, what kind of response should we send? A single message or messages from different countries showing the diversity of our civilization? Well, despite having no legal validity, the Scientific Institute for Messages to Intelligent Extraterrestrials, it has a protocol, the document advocates.
National Special Education Policy.
Extraterrestrial contact case confirmed.
We should indeed
To
respond.
do that, researchers believe we should first contact the United Nations Secretary General. Moreover, all evidence of this contact must be made available
How so?
scientific community of the world.
Of the whole. Caller also predicts there is
Information
about
on the possible contact should be transparent and released by the media.
President-
The Institute for Messages to Intelligent Extraterrestrials, Douglas Vakos, points out another interesting issue about the possibility of contact. According to the scientist, despite protocols from scientific institutions guiding the search for a consensus in signal detection and communication, can anyone in the world who has a transmitter make contact? So, aliens would know about the multitude of voices and cultures on our planet. Although this scenario seems chaotic, go Coke. Do you believe the various contacts would be positive because they would allow aliens to buy?
learn better.
Has our civilization imagined what it would be like to communicate with an extraterrestrial being in recent years?
Scientific institutions have been investing
Advanced research aiming to search for intelligent life beyond our planet. For example,
Project Brick.
through
Tar shot.
send the space probes.
Head to the Alpha Centauri galaxy in the year of 2017.
The mission is to get the small ships with their satellites
The letter is ATG.
the acceleration of 20% of the speed of light. If this goal is achieved, the journey will last 20 years. Each of the probes weighs only 4 grams and measures 3.5 by 3.5 centimeters. The project is funded by 2 entrepreneurs, the Russian Yuri Milner and the American Mark Zuckerberg, with the support of major universities and research centers. Moreover, the mission featured Stephen Hawking and brings together scientists from various countries. Meanwhile, the sprites are communicating with Earth as predicted before their launch. If the small ships reach the desired speed, it will be possible to capture images and information from various stars and the exoplanet Proxima b that was discovered in 2016 and is considered the closest planet to ours outside the solar system. As you can see, the strides we've made in the search for life beyond Earth are fantastic. But there's still one question that haunts us. Are we ready for contact with aliens? Do you think so? Science fiction literature and cinema? Have you ever imagined this scenario? I'll mention one of the most recent that you should know. The 2016 film Arrival posits that the defining key to our relationship with the aliens is communication. In the science fiction movie by director Denis Villeneuve, an extraterrestrial civilization more advanced than ours arrives on Earth and tries to establish contact by parking their ships in countries considered powerful. From each of our continents, the political representatives from each of these regions then establishing contact, but the challenge is huge because alien beings are completely different from the human species. The difference isn't just in physical form, but mainly
In language.
and on the foundations of understanding the world and life. In the movie, the protagonist and heroine learn to deal with the enemies, and the enemies become on how to communicate with extraterrestrials and avoid a tragedy that would be caused by our own civilization.
In history, as humans.
Driven by fear, we prepare to respond to the unexpected visit in the way we usually act in the face of the unknown and tension situations with a military attack and a war between worlds. Now, I suggest you imagine a scenario like this: beings completely different from us to Earth and on our planet, and try to get in touch. What would our reaction be? I can't say if it would be possible to move forward with communication attempts. It's important to understand that human civilization already faces challenges.
Huge videos on Instagram. Established communication among us.
Even so, imagine with beings from another species. Would our contact be peaceful or lead to a devastating war? I can't answer that for you, but have a guess. The first hours of our potential encounter with aliens would be crucial for our life on Earth and in the universe. And you, what plot do you imagine for this scenario? Anyway, I'll leave it here, but we'll always stay alert to the possibilities of finding life on other planets.
Hello.
I'm Ivan Lima, and you're very welcome to the channel Unknown Facts.
Maybe you weren't
It's
even.
not early yet, but the 1980s were marked by a bunch of UFO sightings here in Brazil. One of the most well-known cases occurred on May 19th, 1986, an occasion known as Official UFO Night or
The official night of
Flying saucers.
The event was marked by several sightings of strange objects,
hey,
several Brazilian air routes. The records of the time reported sightings in the states of São Paulo, Goiás, Rio de Janeiro, and Paraná. Coma.
Until today, no one knows exactly.
What were the objects spotted? They were categorized as unidentified flying objects, or simply awesome. It is. Maybe this is the most famous UFO sighting case in Brazil, but many people don't know that. A few years before the famous official UFO night, there was an event as bizarre as any, when an object, unidentified, it was sighted. One of the strongest arguments for denying their existence
It's that few of these events are spotted.
by radios in a crowd. Usually, the sighting is made by just one person or by small clump. Therefore, the lack of witnesses is one of the most commonly used arguments to invalidate the sightings.
Bibachi.
And when an egg disappears in a completely packed football stadium, huh? Imagine you. Do you support Vasco or Operario from Campo Grande? So, is there a game for the Brazilian Championship? Something very bizarre happens over the stadium. That's exactly what happened. On the night of March 6th, 1982, at the Pedro Pedrocian Stadium, better known as Morenal. The stadium is located within the Federal University of Mato Grosso do Sul campus in Campo Grande. Don't swear, y'all. Worker and Vasco da Gama competed in a game for the second phase of the Golden Cup, as the Brazilian Championship was called by the CBF In a few editions of the 80s, oh damn, Vasco's Padala won 2-0. But it wasn't the score that caught the fans' attention in this game. Around 8:15 at night, when the match was still in its early minutes, the stranger appeared on the stage. Some say it was a luminous ball, others report a cylinder, but regardless of the shape of the object, everyone agrees that something very strange happened at Moreno that night. In the stadium, there were almost 25,000 fans. Not to mention the journalists, bigwigs, technical staff, and so on. A server working at the Campo Grande Air Base stated that
Who saw the mirrored objects?
it's true.
Yes, Count.
Contact with the Integrated Center for Air Defense and Air Traffic Control in Brasilia, which communicated that it had not detected any aircraft in that region at that time. Wow. There were speculations
versus-
about what that was.
Strange thing that hovered over the stadium.
Augusto Pessoado.
That it was paratroopers jumping in the place
off
to
with
cheer the crowd. Others
See?
said it was a small plane with strange lighting. But none of these speculations, it was confirmed. The object stopped twice in the air, making extremely fast movements. A maneuver that not even the best aircraft of the time could perform. First, the object hovered over the stadium's marker and then made another stop toward the sky.
Center of Grado.
No one has ever been able to explain what happened at Moreno on the night of March 6th, 1982. Theories, hypotheses, stories, legends emerged, but nothing made it clear what had happened that night. In fact, many people believe what they saw there was real.
Exactly.
A UFO. Years after the incident, Placas, a Brazilian sports magazine,
Did a story about.
Due to a mysterious event.
In the report, they showcased
interview with...
Cocada, who was a player for
The aircraft
over.
was born foolish.
At the time, he was a
Young promise
football.
from Campo Grande.
And in that game, he replaced the suspended regular starter. Cocada not only became a hero to the worker, but also one of the people who told exactly what he saw that night. Thanks for the view, Shabbat Shalom,
Yes.
that described the event.
in the following way.
A ring of fire with a very strong beam of light. Suddenly, it left at an incredible
Guys.
speed.
After witnessing the bizarre event,
Cocada said he turned his focus back to the game, participating in the moves that led to the workers' victory. Cocada was considered the best player.
Gatura charm.
In the locker room, there was a lot of celebration by the team player for
champ.
sure, because there was...
Turned over.
Okay,
the-
from a big dark guy that night,
Error.
something extremely similar to a flying saucer. Theoretically, we can't say.
That something looks like a flying saucer.
But what is a coconut candy?
From here to say it was what he saw coming.
it was unique. Something
He
that
had never seen anything like it in his life, deducing it could indeed be a UFO.
Wish.
Vasco Brotherhood, Rosamiro, also reported what was seen that night. He said he kept looking up for a long time, to the point he forgot he was in a match.
Professor Antonio Carlos de Nascimento, who was rooting for the worker that night, remembers.
I want a bright and strong light.
very beautiful.
And then after flying
over
above,
Moreno, it flew over Francisco Serafim de Barros' house, the superintendent of the federal bank.
Amazon's
Who
backside.
lived next to the stadium.
Wow, the place is somewhat abandoned. Only the local teams play on the field, which usually only hosts state championship games. As far as is known, Overis never visited the stadium again. However, the case that happened in Moreno that excited many ufologists, researchers, and people who are sympathetic to the subject, because a lot of people found it strange. Over the years, it turned out that Moreno became a place where numerous people attempted to take their own lives, causing many to theorize, that the supposed UFO left some kind of negative energy field, a curse that causes people to commit suicide. Well, during the 2014 World Cup, which took place here in Brazil, many businesses and entrepreneurs tried to make Moreno one of the chosen stadiums to host the event. The investment would be 500 billion reais, with the field being revamped and the structure meeting FIFA standards. But in the end, the stadium ended up not being chosen. Could the match between Operario and Vasco have been the scene of an alien sighting? Many people keep questioning something obvious. Where are the pictures of this event? If the UFO shows up during a Brazilian championship game, there would certainly be cameras, photographers, journalists, or anyone else from the press to record the event. Unfortunately, despite there being many reliable websites that report this story, there are no images of the event.
What's the explanation for this?
look at this. According to the
The
famous
journalist from Campo Grande.
Who was present at the match?
It is fake.
Ali, it was
A
the match.
large fireball like a comet tail and small fireballs right behind
Duty was above
out of the god of
self-determination.
planes. And the speed was something unexplainable due to the situation being quite unusual. And the reaction of the people was of astonishment. No one photographed or even filmed the creature. Another possible explanation for this fact is that the object was moving so fast. The cameramen from Globo who were covering the game, they couldn't turn the heavy equipment to the sky in time. In the end, we're talking about the early 90s, in a time when the equipment was much more rustic than today. Come back. We can't deny that the lack of images might call into question the truth of this story. But at the same time, we can't just ignore what happened that day, much less the dozens of testimonials from people who reported what they saw there. Many people say they were there, saw the strange object in the sky, and can't claim it was an alien spaceship, but they are sure it wasn't any aircraft from this world. Isato, so what really happened at Moreno Stadium, huh?
I believe I'm not good.
What? There's a big chance it was really a UFO sighting. I'll leave it here, but I want to know your opinion on the matter first. Do you think there really was a flying saucer in the game between Operado and Vasco? Don't forget to leave your comment. See you soon on the Unknown Facts channel. A big hug. Bye.